Welcome back, my friend. Tonight, London enters the final and most uncertain chapter of the Civil War. The fighting begins to turn, the crown grows distant, and the city prepares to witness something once unimaginable: the judgment of a king and the beginning of a nation without a throne. Settle in, breathe slowly, and let history carry you towards sleep. Subscribe to Deep Sleep Storytelling for more peaceful journeys through history, science, and the mysteries of the sea.
The war turns its face. Settle gently now, my friend. Let your body rest where it is. Let the quiet of the night deepen around you, as if the darkness itself has decided to stay a little longer. Tonight, London senses a subtle shift. Not one that announces itself with sound, but one that arrives with weight. The years move slowly through 1644 and toward 1645. The war continues beyond the city, far enough that London does not hear the clash of weapons, yet close enough to feel its pull. Something begins to change, not in the streets, not in the markets, but in direction. London feels this change before it fully understands it, the way the body senses a turn in the weather long before the sky responds. Change in the wind. For a long time, the war felt uncertain. Victories and losses balanced each other like scales that refused to tip. Hope rose and fell like the tide, predictable in its movement, exhausting in its repetition. Now the city senses a steadier current beneath the surface. Messages arrive with a different tone, not excitement, not triumph, just assurance. Words are chosen carefully. They suggest preparation rather than chance, deliberation rather than impulse. Parliamentary forces are organizing differently, more carefully, more deliberately. London listens. And as it always does, London adjusts. The city and the cost of war. War is not free. London knows this well. Money flows outward from the city in steady streams. Taxes are collected with practiced efficiency. Loans are arranged across long tables covered in papers and ink. Contributions are gathered quietly. Merchants sigh and sign documents. Guilds open reserves saved for moments exactly like this. Citizens give reluctantly, but steadily. There is no enthusiasm in this giving, only acceptance. London understands something deeply practical. Survival requires sacrifice, even when the sacrifice is invisible. The city does not romanticize war, it does not glorify it, it finances it. The new shape of soldiers. Word spreads through London of a different kind of army taking shape, more disciplined, more structured, less bound to local loyalties and personal ambition. This force trains carefully, moves deliberately, follows rules rather than impulse. London respects this. A city built on order recognizes the value of order elsewhere. Control brings comfort, not because it promises victory, but because it promises an end. An ending matters more than triumph. Markets reflect the mood. In the markets, change appears quietly. Certain goods become more available again. Others remain scarce, reminders that balance has not yet returned. Prices still fluctuate, but they settle more often than before. Merchants read these signs closely, trusting patterns more than speeches. Stability is a language markets understand instinctively. London senses that the long uncertainty may be narrowing, that the path ahead is no longer endless, just difficult. Conversations grow shorter. Conversation shifts tone throughout the city. There is less speculation, less rumor, less guessing. People grow tired of imagining outcomes they cannot control. Instead, talk turns toward tasks. What needs doing? What needs fixing? What needs saving? This practicality is not coldness, it is fatigue finding clarity. London has carried uncertainty for years. Now it chooses focus. The river carries confidence. Along the Thames, movement feels steadier. Supply boats run more predictably. Crews work with practiced rhythm. Schedules hold where once they slipped. The river reflects the city's mood, not hopeful, not fearful. Resolved, water flows with purpose, reminding London that movement itself can be reassuring. The absence of celebration continues. Even as news improves, London does not celebrate. There are no songs, no parades, no banners. The city has learned caution. Too many years have passed. Too many moments of hope have been reversed. London waits for endings, not moments. Homes adjust to the long middle. Inside homes, life settles into patterns shaped by endurance. Meals remain simple. Candles are conserved carefully. Stories are told softly. Voices lowered without needing to be asked. People no longer speak of when the war began. They speak of when it might end. This shift matters. It changes how time feels. The past grows distant. The future becomes something measurable. Faith becomes quiet strength. Churches remain full, not with fervor, with steadiness. Prayers ask less for victory and more for endurance, for patience, for wisdom. London has learned that survival is not a dramatic act. It is a daily one. Faith becomes routine rather than spectacle, a quiet strength woven into ordinary days. The city notices fewer arrivals. Fewer refugees arrive now. The flow slows. This does not mean peace, but it suggests containment. London notes this quietly. The city has learned to read absence as carefully as presence, to listen to what is no longer happening. The weight of waiting lightens slightly. The constant pressure eases just a little, not enough to relax, enough to breathe. Londoners sleep a bit deeper, walk a bit slower, laugh a bit more freely when laughter comes. Small shifts, meaningful ones. A city nearing an answer. By the middle of the decade, London feels closer to an answer. Not resolution, not reconciliation, an answer. The sense that the war is no longer endless. This knowledge brings neither joy nor relief. It brings focus. Let this moment rest gently. A city financing the future quietly. Markets stabilizing without celebration. A river flowing with steady purpose. People weary but clear-minded. London senses that the war is turning. Not loudly, not suddenly, but enough to feel the ground change beneath its feet. Breathe slowly now. Let the city soften into the night. The silence around the crown. Settle softly now, my friend. Let your shoulders sink. Let the room grow still around you, as if the walls themselves have chosen silence. Tonight, London enters a moment it never imagined would arrive. A moment that feels heavy, not because of noise, but because of what has fallen quiet. The year moves into 1647 and then toward 1648. The war has slowed, battles fade from conversation. Marching boots are heard less often, like an echo retreating down a long corridor. And yet the city feels more uneasy than before. When noise fades too quickly, it often means something difficult is forming beneath the quiet. A king without a city. Charles I no longer moves freely through England. He travels cautiously now. He negotiates. He retreats. He advances again, then pauses. But London no longer feels him near. The capital has grown used to governing itself through Parliament. Courts function as they always have. Orders are issued and carried out. Guards remain at gates. Familiar faces, performing familiar duties. The absence of the king no longer feels temporary. This realization settles into the city slowly, like cold air seeping into stone. A crown once seen as permanent now feels distant, almost symbolic. Something remembered rather than felt. Conversations grow careful again. In taverns and homes, voices soften. People avoid speculation. They choose words slowly. They glance around before speaking, even among friends. Something delicate is unfolding. Rumors circulate, but they do not linger long. Whispers of negotiations, of disagreements among allies, of plans not fully understood, even by those closest to them. Londoners have learned restraint the hard way. They know when not to push questions too far. So they wait. The army becomes a presence. The soldiers who once felt distant now feel closer, not marching through streets, not occupying squares, but present in influence. Their opinions matter now. Their leaders speak with authority that carries weight beyond uniforms. Their patience is watched closely, measured by those who understand how quickly balance can shift. London senses that power has moved, not fully to Parliament, not back to the king, somewhere in between, and places in between are often unstable. The city grows attentive. The city feels tired of uncertainty. After years of adjustment, London grows weary. Not angry, not rebellious, simply tired. Tired of waiting, tired of not knowing, tired of carrying the weight of history without clarity. This fatigue does not erupt. It does not shout. It settles quietly, like dust on windowsills, like a heaviness behind the eyes at the end of long days. The city continues forward, but more slowly now. The trial that no one names. News begins to circulate of discussions unlike any before. Not rumors of battle, not talks of treaty. Something else. The idea that the king himself might be held accountable. The thought moves through London slowly. It is not spoken openly at first. People struggle to imagine it clearly. A king judged like an ordinary man. The idea feels impossible, and yet it lingers. It appears in half-finished sentences, in glances exchanged across tables, in silences where words might have been. The streets remain calm. Despite the weight of this moment, London remains orderly. Markets open each morning. Churches keep their doors wide. Children play where they always have, chasing one another through narrow streets. This calm feels almost unreal, as though the city understands instinctively that noise would not help, that chaos would only deepen uncertainty. London has learned that restraint can be strength. The Thames reflects a dark sky. Walk with me to the river. The Thames moves steadily beneath low, heavy clouds. Its surface reflects a darker sky than usual, broken only by ripples from passing boats. Boats glide quietly along familiar routes. Oars dip with measured rhythm. Water parts and closes again without complaint. The river has seen kings crowned. It has seen kings buried. It does not hurry. London draws comfort from this constancy, from the reminder that some movements continue regardless of power. A city confronts the unthinkable. As the months pass, the unthinkable becomes unavoidable. Parliament and the army move toward judgment. London does not cheer. It does not protest loudly. It watches. A city that has endured plague, fire, war, and division knows when to remain still. This is such a moment. Stillness becomes a form of respect, or perhaps protection. Bells ring without celebration. Church bells ring occasionally, not for weddings, not for victory, simply marking time. Sound without joy, without grief, just presence. London listens and understands that something final is approaching, even if its shape remains unclear. Homes feel heavier at night. At night, homes feel quieter. Candles burn low. Conversations end earlier than usual. People sit with their thoughts longer. They consider what it means for a kingdom to cross a line never crossed before. What it means to witness something that cannot be undone. They do not discuss these thoughts openly. Some questions are carried alone. The city accepts reality. By late 1648, London accepts what is unfolding, not emotionally, not morally, practically. The city understands something essential. History does not ask permission. It arrives. London prepares itself, not for celebration or mourning, but for endurance, for continuity, for whatever comes next. Let this image rest gently. A city wrapped in silence, a crown growing distant, a river moving without judgment, people waiting for an answer they cannot yet name. London stands on the edge of a moment that will reshape the world, not with shouting, but with stillness. Breathe slowly now. Let the city fade into the quiet night. A kingdom without its reflection. Rest a little deeper now, my friend. Let your breathing slow. Let the quiet settle more fully around you, like a soft woolen cloak drawn close against the cold. Tonight, London enters a moment so unfamiliar that even the city seems to pause and listen to itself. The year is 1649. Winter light lies thin across the streets, pale, weak, reluctant. The air feels hushed, not because nothing is happening, but because something final has arrived. The city knows this instinctively, before words, before explanation. Something has ended and something else, still shapeless, still unnamed, has begun. A trial that changes meaning. London has heard the word trial many times before. Merchants face trials of debt and fortune. Courts hear trials of property, inheritance, and dispute. Churches speak of trials of faith, of endurance, of the soul tested by suffering. But this trial is unlike any that has come before. For the first time, a king stands before judgment by his own people. The idea does not strike London with lightning. It settles instead slowly, heavily, like frost forming across a window pane. Disbelief comes first. Not outrage, not triumph. Disbelief. A king is not meant to be questioned in this way. A king is not meant to be weighed by common men, measured by written charges, or spoken to as an equal before a court. A king, London has long believed, reflects the kingdom itself. And yet, here he stands. The city struggles to make room for this reality. Old ideas press against new facts. Tradition resists understanding. London does not yet decide how it feels. It only listens. Westminster in winter. Westminster carries a heavy stillness. Guards stand in disciplined silence, their breath faint in the cold air. Officials move with careful restraint, aware that every step feels weighted, watched, remembered. Voices lower instinctively. No one laughs, no one boasts. There is no celebration here, no sense of victory, only gravity. The proceedings unfold with strict formality. Words are chosen with care, each sentence shaped to endure scrutiny. Silence is treated as something sacred, London itself does not crowd the halls. Most citizens remain outside, absorbing fragments of information carried by messengers, whispered in doorways, printed in pamphlets that pass from hand to hand. The city waits, not passively, but attentively. The city holds its breath. In homes and narrow streets, conversation softens. Some feel relief. The long conflict has finally reached an end point, a place where endless uncertainty might pause. Others feel unease, a sense that something has been broken which cannot be repaired. Many feel confusion. What does it mean to live in a kingdom that judges its king? What does it mean for law, for order, for the future? These questions are rarely spoken aloud. They sit quietly instead, in the spaces between thoughts, in the pause before sleep, in the silence after a sentence trails away, unfinished. London holds its breath. Bells without meaning. Church bells ring across the city, but without agreement. Some parishes ring them cautiously. Others remain silent. There is no shared understanding of what sound is appropriate for this moment. Celebration feels wrong. Mourning feels premature. So the bells exist without meaning, ringing as rain falls, present, unmistakable, yet unexplained. London listens without interpreting. The sound becomes part of the atmosphere rather than a message. A moment without precedent. When the decision becomes known, the city does not erupt. There are no riots, no cheers, no open wailing. Instead, London grows very still. Shops open quietly. Markets function with subdued efficiency. People move through streets with careful steps as though the ground itself has shifted slightly beneath them. This is not indifference. It is gravity. London understands without being told that history has crossed a threshold from which there is no return. A king becomes a memory. Afterward, Charles I becomes something new. No longer a ruler, no longer an enemy, no longer a symbol of authority. He becomes a memory. Londoners speak of him in the past tense, sometimes kindly, sometimes critically, often not at all. The city has learned in this moment that silence can be a form of respect, and sometimes a form of protection. A capital without a crown. London now finds itself in unfamiliar territory. A capital without a monarch. The structures of governance remain. Courts continue. Orders are issued. Administrative life carries on. Yet something intangible has changed. The city no longer reflects royal presence. It reflects itself. This realization does not arrive all at once. It settles slowly, like a truth that must be revisited repeatedly before it feels real. Responsibility feels heavier when it cannot be passed upward. Authority feels different when it has no crowned figure to embody it. The river accepts everything. Walk with me now to the Thames. The river flows as it always has. It does not slow. It does not react. It does not judge. Boats pass beneath the bridges. Oars dip steadily into dark water. Currents carry everything onward. The river has seen kings rise and fall. It has carried triumph and tragedy alike. London finds comfort in this. Some things outlast power. Conversations without conclusions. In taverns and private homes, conversation continues, but in fragments, not arguments, not declarations, fragments. A sentence begun and left unfinished. A thought paused and gently abandoned. Londoners are not ready to define what they have become. They only know that the old definition no longer fits. Children ask simple questions. Children notice the change in quieter ways. They ask where the king has gone, why soldiers look different, why adults speak more softly than before. Parents answer carefully. They do not lie. They do not explain fully. They say the world is changing. For now, that is enough. The city looks inward. Without a crown to reflect, London turns inward, toward its streets, its people, its habits and assumptions. The city begins to understand that authority can exist without royalty. This realization is unsettling and also strangely clarifying. The burden of responsibility feels heavier, but more honest. A new shape begins to form. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, London adjusts. Not to peace, not yet, but to absence. The absence of a king reshapes everything, not dramatically, but quietly. Like a building learning to stand without a central pillar. Hold this moment gently. A city standing in silence after an irreversible choice. A river flowing without comment. A people uncertain, thoughtful, awake. London has crossed into a world without its reflection. It does not yet know what it will see instead. Breathe slowly now. Let the city soften into the night. A city without a king. Lie back now, my friend. Let your body grow heavy. Let your breathing settle into a slow, gentle rhythm. Tonight, London enters a quiet and unfamiliar chapter. A chapter without crowns, without royal processions, without the old mirrored image of power. The year is 1649, and London is a capital without a king. A new silence over the city. The city does not wake to celebration, nor does it wake to despair. It wakes to silence, not the sudden silence of shock, but the settled silence that follows a great decision, when there is nothing left to argue and no one left to persuade. Shops open as they always have. Doors creak. Stalls are arranged. Coins change hands. Church bells ring, but softly, cautiously, as if unsure what tone is still permitted. The Thames carries boats beneath the bridges with patient indifference. Yet something is missing. No royal banners hang from stone facades. No courtly gatherings spill into the streets. No distant hum of ceremony drifts outward from Whitehall. London notices the absence immediately, not as emptiness, but as space. A space that has never existed before. Governance without ceremony. The machinery of rule continues. Orders are written, courts sit in judgment, taxes are collected, guards stand their posts, but the tone has changed. There is less display, less ornament, less theater. Power no longer arrives wrapped in silk and procession. It moves through committees, councils, and written decrees. Authority now speaks quietly, through paper and procedure rather than spectacle. London adjusts. The city has always respected function more than illusion. Now function becomes everything. Faith becomes restrained. Religious life shifts once more. Churches remain open, but services grow simpler. Music softens. Decoration fades. Candles are fewer. Gestures restrained. Sermons emphasize discipline, moral clarity, restraint of desire. Some Londoners welcome this simplicity. It feels honest, uncluttered. Others miss the color, the ritual, the sense of beauty that once softened belief. Most accept the change quietly. After years of upheaval, certainty, even a plain one, feels comforting. The city learns new habits. Daily life reshapes itself around restraint. Taverns grow quieter. Public celebrations become rare. Entertainment retreats indoors. London becomes a city that keeps its joy modest. People learn to take pleasure in small things. A warm meal at day's end. A shared story told softly. A walk along the river at dusk. Excess now feels dangerous. The city has learned caution deeply. It wears restraint like a second skin. Trade continues carefully. Commerce does not stop. The docks remain active. Ropes creak. Cargo shifts. Ships arrive from distant ports. Merchants negotiate contracts with measured voices. Risks are calculated. Spending restrained. Ambition tempered. London understands that stability is fragile. It chooses patience over speed, caution over bravado. The city has survived too much to gamble recklessly now. Soldiers as neighbors. The presence of soldiers becomes familiar. Not as conquerors, but as neighbors. They patrol streets, stand guard at crossings, wait in quiet clusters. London does not fear them, but it does not celebrate them either. Their presence is accepted as part of the new landscape, like scaffolding after a storm, necessary, temporary, unremarkable. The city feels tired. By the early 1650s, fatigue settles in, not the sharp exhaustion of battle, but a deep, layered weariness. Years of tension have taken their toll. Londoners feel older than they should. They carry memories of plague, of firelight flickering against fear, of neighbors divided by belief. The city longs not for excitement, but for rest. Order without warmth. The Commonwealth brings order. Laws are enforced. Corruption challenged. Efficiency prized. Systems tighten. Rules multiply. Discipline deepens. But warmth is harder to find. The city feels managed rather than inspired. Corrected rather than embraced. This is not oppression. It is heaviness. London understands instinctively that discipline can preserve a city, but it cannot nourish it forever. Conversations turn inward. People speak less about politics now. The great arguments of the previous decade feel distant, almost unreal. Conversations turn inward, toward family, toward trade, toward survival. London is no longer choosing sides. It is living with consequences. The Thames remains the same. Through all this, the river flows unchanged. It carries commerce. It reflects clouds. It listens without judging. London walks its banks for comfort. The river reminds the city that time continues, regardless of power. Some things cannot be overthrown. A quiet longing emerges. Slowly, almost without language, a longing grows. Not necessarily for the king who was lost, but for balance, for continuity, for rhythm, for ceremony, not as excess, but as reassurance. London does not speak this longing aloud. It feels it in glances at old buildings, in memories of past processions, in the quiet thought that perhaps something valuable was lost, along with extravagance. The city prepares, without knowing. By the late 1650s, London senses another shift approaching. Not fear this time, and not anger, anticipation. The sense that this chapter too will end. The city does not rush it. London has learned patience better than most places on earth. Lie still now, my friend. Let the city rest beside you. A capital without a crown. A people learning what remains when symbols fall away. The night holds London gently, and tomorrow history will continue. Quietly. Ending the episode. Let this final image rest softly in your mind. A city standing without a crown, order maintained, life restrained, a river flowing steadily through centuries. London has survived division, war, and absence. It stands ready for what comes next. Not because it seeks change, but because it understands that history never stays still. Breathe slowly now. Let the city fade gently into sleep.
And so, my friend, we leave London at the end of a world it once believed would last forever. The war has turned. The crown has fallen silent. Charles I has passed from ruler into memory, and the city now stands without the royal reflection that shaped it for generations. Yet London continues. The courts remain open. The markets still wake at dawn. Boats move along the Thames, carrying goods beneath a sky unchanged by human power. People return to family, work, faith, and the small routines that make life feel whole again. The city has learned that history can remove kings, alter governments, and reshape belief, but it cannot stop the river, the streets, or the quiet will of ordinary people. Rest now, my friend. Let London fade gently into darkness, carrying its sorrow, its endurance, and its unfinished future into the night.